Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing my first Q&A for this week, leading up to next week's episode of The Walking Dead, which is Season 6, Episode 14. Only 3 episodes left. Alright, this one is called Twice as Far. And the first question for this one comes from Joel Dang, and he says, "Hey Trev, can you do a video on whether or not we will see Dwight again this week?" And he said, also, I hope you feel better. So thanks, man. I appreciate it. So I wanted to do definitely a video on this topic. And spoiler warning, if you guys aren't caught up to episode 13. So yeah, only 3 episodes left. Episode 14, Twice as Far. So will Dwight return? This is a tricky one. I would think so. I would think so. I mean, and another question I've seen is, will he be kind of regular Dwight as we saw him and always accountable? You know, in this episode, you've seen the promo. Daryl's talking about how he should have killed them then, that kind of deal. And I think that's why he's talking about it, because I think he's going to run into Dwight again and he's going to see his crossbow. I think Dwight's probably been using the crossbow since he got it and has probably gotten pretty good with it. And I think Negan would have recaptured Dwight after that episode. Of course, we saw the bike, so we know that he did. And would have punished him for what he did and for trying to leave, and that with Honey or with Sherry, if that's her name in the TV series version, we'll see. And that we will see him probably return this week. I mean, it's possible it could be episode 15, but we've only got 3 episodes left, and the last episode is probably going to be our actual first appearance of the real Negan. So episodes 14, 15 should also be pretty good. And this has been a great half season because we haven't really had any filler the whole half. I mean, we only had the lighter episode where you have meeting Jesus, and you have Daryl and Rick as they're chasing after him and everything. But that serves as a good episode because it's a lighter episode. Then afterwards, we've had some really dark ones, and of course, we needed to kind of meet Jesus because he's a new character. So that's a big episode too. So they haven't really had any useless episodes where nothing has happened all the way through. Even though people would say, like, episode 13, people in the comments have seen saying it is filler. It is filler for the TV series if you're comparing it to the comic book series. But I thought it was good for Carol's character, and I think that, we've seen that prior of her, kind of how she's feeling and everything. I thought it was pretty exciting because you do have the baby mixed in there. And I wouldn't call it a bad episode per se. There's things happening, and it's a different environment than we're used to, and you've got some new villains and stuff. So it's not a bad episode like something like Still or something like that. This just didn't do anything for me. It was pretty good, and some people thought it was great even, and thought I was being too harsh on it. I thought I was being fair on it. I didn't think it was an amazing episode, but I didn't think it was a terrible episode either. So this back 8 has been amazing episodes of The Walking Dead, and it looks like 14, 15, 16 will also be equally as good. And 16, this finale should be one of the best finales we've ever had. Probably better than the last few episodes of season 5, even though we did get to see the reuniting between Morgan and Rick, which was great. To answer the first question from Joel, I do think we're going to see Dwight return. I do think he's going to be a big influence, in the show now, and be like a season regular probably in season 7, and we'll get to see him quite a bit because he's one of Negan's most important people. And even though we've seen a lot of different saviors so far, he's kind of one in the comic book series. Is kind of one of his lieutenants that is there consistently. Even though, he does kind of get out of line as he has, and Negan can't really trust him 100%. But after punishing him, I guess Dwight would fall in line like the rest for the most part, because he wouldn't want anything like that to happen again. And he certainly should be afraid of Negan after what is to happen to him, which I imagine already has happened. So we'll see what that looks like too. So that should be pretty cool too. So it should be a good episode 14 and 15 for sure. Next one is because you have Rosita and Daryl going on a run together. Do I think that they could make for a good couple? Because I kind of mentioned it there in the other the predictions video, and I think that actually could make sense. I think that actually would make sense. We've never really seen, because we know that Daryl has a strong relationship with Carol, but I don't see it as a romantic one. I don't see Daryl as really being attracted to Carol. Carol and Tobin might make more sense than that, sort of in a way. But Daryl has never had a romantic partner all the way through the show. That said, they're going to have a lot of stuff going on. They're going to have a lot of stuff happening. So, I don't think it's going to happen, but I think it would fit. I think it would make sense to be pretty good because Abraham did kind of kick her to the curb and act like he doesn't care. So if she's going on runs and stuff with Daryl, maybe we could see the start of that. Probably not, but, it's kind of a long shot type deal. I don't think we will, but I think that would make sense, actually. I think that would work out pretty good. Especially for Daryl, because he's never really had anything like that. So that'd be, in the show at least. We don't know about his prior life, and if he's had, romantic partners, girlfriends, stuff like that. We can probably assume not, but we don't know for sure. Next one's from Nolan Harris, and he says, "Hey, Trev, Q&A question. In the promo for episode 14, we saw Abraham and Eugene outside the walls, part of the other group, and looking for something. Do you think this is going to be where we will see Dwight kill somebody?" So this week's episode. So I think so. It could be episode 15 too. Who's it going to be? You can watch my Who Will Dwight Kill video. It's in the channel, and we go through some different options there, and we talk about it. So if you want to hear my thoughts on that, go to the channel. Look, just type in Dwight, you'll find it. Who Will Dwight Kill, and that's pertaining to this upcoming week for sure. Next one's from Kevin, and he says, "Was anyone else super worried that the guy was going to hit Maggie's stomach and hurt the baby?" So yeah, that was a concern of mine too, but I wanted to put this one in here. It's from Kevin. It was in the comments. It seems like she kind of like scratches her type deal, but it doesn't look to me like she actually does any real damage, to Maggie's stomach or anything. So I think she's probably fine, and the baby's probably fine. I wouldn't worry about it. I don't think we're going to see like, miscarriage or something like that in the TV series version. I don't think so. But I think it kind of shows kind of the saviors and the kind of people that they are when fist comes to cuff. They really don't care too much, and she's willing to attack her where she's, I don't want to say weakest, but kind of like attack her where it will do the most impact, the most damage, and she's most vulnerable, I suppose, which is what that one female savior did, which is kind of nasty. But that's kind of they're at war with Rick's group, and that's kind of the people you're dealing with here. So it is what it is. It's who they are. Next one's from Vinnie Mac, and he says, "WTF, I thought Negan and his group of saviors are supposed to be tough, so why have the writers made them out to be bumbling idiot wimps? These past few episodes have been a slap in the face to fans of Negan and the saviors." So I wanted to include this one in there, because I think it's a great comment, and I was like, wow, yeah, that's true. In the comic book series, it really feels different from the TV series with regards to the saviors, at least so far. I mean, the survivors have been just wiping out the saviors without hardly, I don't want to say any trouble, but they haven't been badly injured or had anybody shot or had anybody go into critical condition or die from the fight so far with the saviors. So they've beaten them pretty handily. I mean, they've given them trouble, more so than a lot of previous groups. But they haven't really, hurt the survivors that much yet. So that's coming, I think, in the next part of the season. And also remember, your strongest people are going to be the ones you keep in your inner circle. They're going to be the ones you keep around you. If you're Negan and you're deciding, okay, who do I want to keep at my location with me at Sanctuary or wherever, who am I going to keep there? If it's people I don't really care too much about, or maybe I don't trust that much, or I don't care, they're not that useful, maybe I'll send them to some outpost somewhere. But the people in my immediate group are going to be your tough people. So people like Dwight and the others, and maybe some dudes with sledgehammers, chainsaws, stuff like that. So that's fun. But the others that so far the saviors we've seen, what I'm saying is, they're probably not the toughest of all the saviors. In addition to that, they did get kind of blindsided by Rick's group. They were not ready to deal with Rick's group. They didn't know who they were. They didn't know anything about them, and they didn't know they were coming. So they got blindsided by them. They didn't have any idea what they were about to get into. Plus, the guys that were going after Daryl, Sasha, and Abraham, those guys seem really tough to me. But it doesn't matter how tough you are. If someone shoots you with a rocket launcher, that's pretty much GG, man. You're done. So it's just kind of the way things have worked out so far. But that law of averages, right? The law of averages is bound to catch up, right? Next one's from the Madster, and he says, "I agree with you in previous videos that they're getting too violent, but it will obviously have repercussions." So I wanted to add this comment because I think this is a really good one to talk about, because it seems like they're deliberately setting it up to show us how brutal the survivors are when they're fighting against the saviors. So if, later on in the season, if Negan is able to catch some of them, or able to get some of them, of the survivors, we can't really fault him. We can't blame him for him killing a few of the survivors if he's going to, because they've killed so many of his men. It's like they've got to pay the price in some way for doing that to fall in line, so to speak. So it would make sense if Negan's going to kill at least 1, 2, maybe 3 of the survivors because of what they've done so far. It only makes sense because it's been so many. So they're kind of setting it up on purpose, I think, and the repercussions are going to be coming probably in the finale, most likely in episode 14, 15. But yeah, I wanted to include the comics. I think it's a good one. And it makes a lot of sense the way they're doing it. It's deliberate, right? It's just like how episode 10 was lighter, and then these ones are so dark. It was deliberately lighter, I would say, because they knew what they were going to be doing the rest, and they didn't want to have every episode be that bleak and dark. They wanted to kind of mix it up a little bit, right? So that's why I think they did that on purpose. Next one's from Michael Romero, and he says, I hope you get better soon, Trev. Thanks, man. And he says, also, do you think the saviors what do you think they mean by we are Negan? So that's something that was in the comic book series just very briefly, and it wasn't really expanded upon by Kirkman that much, but I think maybe they thought about it, and they thought it was a good idea that they would cover Negan up by saying that they're all Negan so that the enemy doesn't really know who their leader actually is. So it's kind of like you have decoys, or you have people that claim to be that leader, so you don't know who the real one is and who you're messing with. And it's kind of a defense mechanism to do that, so that to keep the enemy confused, so that they don't have the information they would need. And in this case, been totally misled to think that they've already beaten the saviors 100%. And the viewers too. Most viewers that don't read the comic series will already think that the survivors already beat them 100% and have no idea that they've just basically scratched the surface of getting into it with them. They have no idea how many more saviors there are. And last one's going to be from Rice Duke, and he says, the group has killed way too many saviors for Negan to kill just one of the survivors. And I wanted to add that in there too, because I felt like, yeah, exactly. I kind of talked about it prior there, but absolutely that's true. I mean, 1 for a few, fine. 1 for 30, fine. 1 for more, like 35, 50. It's like, I don't know. That's not really a fair trade. So, crazy, man. Crazy stuff. So that's going to be it for this Q&A. I'll keep it there for you guys. I don't want to go on for too long, but keep sending me your questions for this week. Make lots of videos this week as usual. We'll try to get back in the swing of things. At least try to do one a day, and that kind of deal. If I miss a day, it's just because I'm not feeling good enough to make one for you guys, just so you know. And let me know what you guys think. If you liked this video, send me your Q&A questions. Thumb it up below. Share, favorite, and if you're new and you want to sub, then you can subscribe at the bottom left. And I appreciate everybody who subscribes. So please, if you've been watching, you've been thinking about it for a while, and you haven't subscribed yet, why don't you sign up for a YouTube account and go ahead and subscribe. I appreciate it. That's it for this video. I'll see you guys again tomorrow for another Q&A. Send me your questions. It's Trev, saying peace. See you guys.